we're going to do today is show you exactly how to spar against the best so that on fight night, you'll be able to deal with anything, no matter who it is and what the situation is. These are the three most important keys in boxing. First, knowing how to utilize your footwork better than anybody inside of that boxing ring, knowing how to lead, not follow, and having the proper algorithm of a fighter when you're going into these matches. So that's exactly what we're about to share with you. We're going to start off by showing you a snippet of the Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevens sparring session so that you can see high-level boxing and that you get the right instructions on what should you do when you're in that situation. So here we go. Started off round one, and you'll see as the fight progresses, just in this one round, there are a lot of adjustments being made. So the key adjustment number one is having the right footwork placement. Let's check it out. As you see, Devin Haney is setting the tone with the double jab. As he level changes, he looks left, he looks right. That's very important. Now he's trying to establish dominance by pushing Shakur in the corner. Now, what you saw there is Shakur Stevens, not only did he embrace, come on in, let's see what you got, but that's all about knowing that you've done this drill enough times, being in the corner and knowing how to bend your knees, sit down in your stance, and from that point, that's where you learn the more important rules in boxing. Enough repetition. So you go to your Art of Sparring training guide, and this tells you how many rounds that you need to do each one of those drills so that it's embedded in your muscle memory. And when it's fight night, you won't have to try to figure out, why are my legs feeling like quicksand? It's because you haven't done these drills enough times. The repetition has not settled into your muscle memory. And therefore, when you're in high level boxing, everything goes out the door. This guide, your Art of Sparring, will prevent that from happening to you. All you have to do is follow it and look at your schedule that says schedule and your duration. Weeks 1 through 6 of developing yourself as a fighter. Now, all you have to do is follow this. And the second thing, let's look at the second part of this fight. As you see, he bends his knees and he then sits down in this stance. That's where you let them know that you are there and you sitting down and you're throwing with purpose. You're just not throwing the typical boxing punches. You're delivering punches that are hurting. Remember these things. Now, as you see, he's attacking that solar plexus. Anytime you're boxing against a fighter, you have to hit them to both sides of the belly. If not, what will happen is they'll recover. And when they recover, that's it. You will not get the opportunity to get that back. So make sure you tank them out. As the fight goes on, this is round one. You don't allow them to get their legs up under them. So hence is why you know how to move around in the ring, turn out of that corner, and make sure that they do not set you up. You're setting them up with a trap. So just say, for instance, your boxer is doing that and he's got an actual enough rounds in there. Then with that being said, now he can really let things go. He does not have that roadblock going on when you're telling them what to do in the corner. He's comfortable doing it because he has the right algorithm. And the algorithm of a fighter is a real thing. How many of you have worked with a guy in something, and when it was fight night, you're telling him to do the same thing and he couldn't? And that's the difference. When they try to do certain things, it's easier to do because they're in there with lesser opposition or someone that there's more familiar with. But then when you get him in a situation where he's right in there with somebody that's tough and you're telling him to do it, he can't do it like he wants to do it, or the way it's required, because he has not gotten into a place in his body that he has the algorithm of a fighter. So hopefully you'll take this lesson and make it very clear, knowing how to use your feet, knowing how to set traps, knowing how to bend down and sit in your stance, throwing with conviction with your punches, because that puts more weight behind each punch, establishing yourself and having the proper algorithm. That's going to matter when you're fighting in high level boxing. If not, what'll happen is everything you think you worked on won't work. And so keep these repetitions going in this Art of Sparring guide, which is available to all of you who are in Champions University. Make sure you go back here, and it even tells you the amount of sparring rounds, your round tracker. And when you're in high level boxing, you're boxing against real fighters. You got to know how to fill this thing out, track all of your sparring progressions, give everybody their sheet, let them check their boxes, and make sure that they understand how many rounds is it going to take for you to work on back foot training. How many rounds is it going to take for you to be aggressive, knowing how to take away a jab and step around and throw combinations and counter punching techniques at this guy, so he will never figure out what's going on. These things are all about preparation. So you got Olympic trials coming up, or qualifiers. You got Golden Glove matches coming up. Prepare your guys the right way. Don't cut corners. And this Art of Sparring guide has everything in it that you're going to need. So use it like you never used it before, because if you use this right, you'll understand why this was used in the 2020 Olympics and why we medaled multiple times utilizing this guide. All right. Special shouts out to Coach Lopez. You know, Olympics is the real deal. It's level 6 of the 7 levels. And when you get there, be ready so you don't have to get ready. When I speak to the essence of sparring to a fighter, one thing that I want them to understand when it comes down to the art of sparring and learning how to fight. When you're on the street, it's one thing. But when you climb through those ropes, it's an entirely different judicial precinct. You're learning how to breathe again. You're learning how to walk again. You're learning how to move again. It's not the same thing. And the principles change from the laws of the street to inside of that ring. Muscle memory has to be elevated to levels unmeasured in everyday life. Sparring is a different level of game. And what it calls for and entails, most people aren't willing to do those things, or they don't have the blueprint to them. So keep this in mind. Whenever you're thinking about getting inside of that ring, have you actually been schooled? Because once punches start flying, the narrative changes. So does your reaction. All of these things have to be built up over a period of time. So that's why we created the science of sparring, elevating and improving your offense at the same time. That's the 13th precinct inside of that ring. And the laws are not the same as they are on the street. And a good street fighter does not transfer into being a good boxer. The laws are all different. Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. Outside in the octagon, it's all day McGregor. But inside of that ring, the laws are not the same. And it's all about the laws in which you are sanctioned under. So you're about to learn how to spar. My name is Coach Eric A. Bradley, and I thank you guys for getting ready to be educated in the science of sparring. You'll never be able to get to the top of boxing being an average fighter. You got to have willpower, you got to have determination, and you got to have experiences. Type the word SMOKE if you want to use the exact same training system that was utilized in over 40 world championship training camps. See, boxing isn't about knowing skills and techniques. This is the art of sparring. Just type the word SMOKE if you want to use the system that champions use. Boxing is all about understanding the 13th precinct. And when you understand that, the only thing you need is an algorithm of a fighter. When you have those two, you have the blueprint. Type the word smoke and use the same training system that over 40 world champions have used to date. Type smoke and understand the art of sparring, the system of proven champions, and follow for more.